Hey, it's Matt from Gravity Forms. Today we're going to take a look at setting up WordPress Multisite and give you some insights into Multisite, if you've not heard of it before, to give you some of those feature benefits of running multiple sites inside one WordPress installation, only supported on our Elite license plan. Check it out at gravityforms.com. Click on the Elite license plan. It's everything we have to offer in terms of Gravity Forms, all of our add-ons, and Gravity SMTP. If you're somebody using Multisite, chances are you're doing this in a more corporate, higher ed, agency environment where you need the abilities to run multiple WordPress sites for intranet and unique bespoke client solutions, higher ed for multiple colleges, multiple faculty websites, and information websites. Gravity Forms, the Elite license plan. There's nothing better for somebody running multi-site on WordPress. All right, we're going to pull from some of this information from the official learn.wordpress.org site in setting up WordPress Multisite. We're not going to cover every single thing here. I'm going to show you how to set it up and what it looks and feels like, and then, of course, showing you Gravity Forms installed on those multi-sites. There's three major benefits, in my opinion, to WordPress Multisite. Here's what they are. Number one, it is a central dashboard for all of your WordPress sites under one WordPress installation. Years ago, WordPress.com was a really big WordPress multi-site serving up tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of websites, still might be today. And the major benefit for you, the webmaster running this, is you just have one WordPress install and everything is right there. Benefit number two is you can quickly clone and copy sites that are more like, copying templates of WordPress sites. You build a site with a certain set of themes and plugins. You can quickly copy and activate that for your next WordPress installation. So again, when we're thinking of multi-site in the context of usefulness, corporate intranets, WordPress sites for specific product teams or organizational teams within the umbrella of the greater business, you can quickly create these sites. If you're talking about WordPress in higher ed and you're quickly cloning faculty sites or colleges have their own individual sites within the greater university system, that's just making life a lot easier for you. And then number three would be, of course, all the security patches is just done in one place. So you're not thinking about WordPress, hundreds of WordPress sites and hundreds of individual installations, where now you're thinking, okay, how do I manage this? How do I deploy patches to this? How do I, manage that from a network security infrastructure play? Multisite is just right there for you. It's that one installation, all the sites. And those are the three biggest benefits and probably the main reason why multi-site was invented in the first place. All right, let's scroll down on this document. WordPress.org has a fantastic set of documents on setting up multi-site, and you should certainly read through this so you can get a more granular take on this. But effectively what we're going to do is enable multi-site in your WordPress installation by copying and pasting this piece of code into your WP config file. Now, if that scares you, typically at your hosting company, there will be a little flag that you can check off in your hosting environment to enable that. Most WordPress hosting companies that are doing like managed WordPress hosting are going to support multi-site. Maybe not in the installation that you have. Maybe you have to set up on a different plan, but I would certainly look to your WordPress hosting company first so you can see, number one, is multi-site available? And number two, how do you activate that on the hosting level? Because effectively what you can do with multi-site is serve up those dozens, hundreds, potentially thousands of sites within one WordPress installation. So it's certainly going to be much more of a resource intensive, play once you start to activate all of these sites. Just because you have one site doesn't mean you can skirt around the amount of resources that it's using. But you certainly want to check with your host first. And then there's like two default ways that you would access these multi-sites. It would be the domain name of your WordPress website now / folder name or path name. That's one way to access a multi-site. And then you can set it up in a subdomain way where it would run as a subdomain.yourdomainname.com to access it. I'm sure there are other plugins out there and there's other ways to do full domain access to a multi-site, but that's not for this conversation. And I don't think WordPress.org officially documents how to do something like that. The basis of this is check with your WordPress hosting company first before you start to play with Multisite. So instead of using a hosting company in this demo, we're going to use WordPress Studio, which you can download, and I'll have the link for that below. It's a free way to run WordPress locally, and we can start to play with WordPress without actually using it on a hosting provider. So I'm just going to call it Multisite, and they don't give us any options to enable Multisite by default, but that's okay. We're just going to click Add Site. So WordPress Studio will go ahead and build this WordPress website, and we'll have all the access that we normally have with a hosted site, except it'll be right here on our computer, and we can access it through our browser. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is go into Finder, open up the WP config file, and then get this piece of code loaded in. So let's click on Finder, right click on config. I'm going to open this up in my editor. And let's see, they want us to pull in this piece of code. So I'm going to click and copy that. And I'm going to place that right here in a nice, neat manner. I'm going to click on save. So that's saved. We've edited our config file. Now we'll go into that WordPress installation. You won't see anything different just yet. What we're going to do now is go into Tools and Network Setup. This you won't see. You won't see Network Setup until you add that piece of code into your WP config file. So we'll click on Network Setup. It's going to ask us a few questions here. Subdirectory installation, server address, localhost, because we're doing this with WordPress Studio. Network title, multi-site sites. That's fine. It's just creating the name based off of the name that we've already made. And then network admin is just whatever. We're going to click on install. And it did some things in the background. And now we'll have to go back to our config file to add some of these rules here. So the thing I'm going to do here is copy this back into Cursor, paste that in. So the next thing we'll do is copy this htaccess rule. This is pretty technical. This is for Apache server rules. Gets a little bit technical here, but let's go ahead and open our folder, and then we're going to have a new file. We're going to call that htaccess. Again, this is why you want to check with your hosting provider. Sometimes they don't give you access to htaccess file. It's a hidden file in order to give Apache some sort of like rewrite commands, if you will. And if you've never played with this stuff before, definitely check with the hosting company to see if there's like that little easy mode for turning on multi-site. So I'm going to hit save on that. We're going to stop this multi-site just to sort of generate the server again. I don't know if that's going to make a difference with this WordPress Studio app, but I like to always restart things. It's the old network admin in me where I have to restart services to make sure that things are working. So, okay, so now it's running. Let's open up the WP admin. We'll close out our old one. And now the difference is set in. You'll see in the upper left-hand corner, we have this new icon. It's called My Sites. You'll see Network Admin, which will bring us to this dashboard and some other typical options that you've seen, or Multisite, the dashboard and the posts and the managed comments. Multisite, because I named it Multisite, is the single individual first install of the site. Network Admin is that global dashboard that gives us access to control all of the individual multi-sites that we have. We can search for users, we can search for sites. Because this is a shared pool of that information, that's one of the benefits to WordPress Multisite is we have this one dashboard to manage all the things. And managing all those things means themes and plugins. So you can set your base amount of themes that you want to give access to across the network, or you want to install your plugins to give your base of plugins across the entire network. And if we go back, you can see right here, network disable, network enable. So when you're enabling that, it's enabled for the entire network to have access. So in a environment like, again, higher ed or some kind of corporate environment, maybe you have one or two themes that people can choose from, right? You're not giving people the ability to, download any WordPress theme that you want and add that to their site. What you're saying is, no, we give you this choice. Like, these are the themes you have to work with. This is within the boundaries of, the organization or the university with branding and code. Same thing with the plugins. You're saying, like, look, we're going to install Gravity Forms. Everyone's going to have access to Gravity Forms, but maybe you can't install any other plugins. Like that kind of sort of, rules of the road when folks are managing their own WordPress websites. So that's the initial power of multi-site. And you're operating in the same sense of WordPress to a degree. Like, things aren't shockingly different here, just giving you a different admin screen. In fact, I wish there were more features to multi-site to make it a little bit more, webmaster focused, like granular controls and better search and, more rules around what you can do with sites. And maybe that'll come, in the future. Who knows, right? So we can go into network settings and you can see all of the different things that we can set up, things like welcome email, welcome user email. This is fantastic. Again, Gravity Forms Elite is the only license or level that supports multi-site. And with that, you get Gravity SMTP. These types of emails that go out, these transactional emails, are great for Gravity SMTP because you connect that up to your mailing service and you know that these emails are getting delivered without, falling in the spam folder. And then number two, Gravity SMTP gives you that central view to say, let's track and report on all the emails that are going out. So as the webmaster controlling all of these networks of sites, you can see the health of, what's happening across your email. We won't go through all of these things. This is just a quick overview to show you that there are settings here, and then network setup. This is just like that default stuff that we went through. So let's go to all sites. This is kind of like looking at your pages and posts, and you can go in here and add a new site. So we'll call this Gravity Team. Site language will be English, and we'll say Matt at Gravity Forms. It's going to just search to make sure that that email isn't already in the system, and we're going to click Add Site. So site's been added. We can go directly to edit the site or visit the dashboard. Let's just visit the dashboard just so you can see. And it's just a typical WordPress site. At this time of this recording, we're running 6.8.3. It gives us access to all of the things we normally have. And what you'll notice is we don't have the ability to go and add any theme we want, because what it's doing is it's looking at the parent site in the network and saying, oh, what have they given us access to? Oh, they've only given us access to this one theme. I can't go to WordPress.org and add a new theme. Same thing with the plugins. As it stands right now, we only have access to these two default plugins that ship with WordPress, which is Akismet and Hello Dolly. So I can activate these if I want, but I can't add more because I don't have access to that. As the sort of, sub-admin to the network, I can control my WordPress site, and I can enable and disable the stuff that the global admin has given me, but I can't go and add my own stuff. And that, again, is the beauty of multi-site, especially when you're delegating sites to people throughout your organization. Otherwise, it's 99% the same way, like adding posts, pages, media. It is all the same. It's WordPress through and through. You can go through and add users and, connect up, users to your site. If you're a manager for that particular site, you can go and add your own editors and sub-admins and all of that fun stuff. So it's giving you that same level of wonderful WordPress control that you're used to when you're running your own WordPress site, short of adding plugins and themes. That's dictated by the top. So those are the extreme benefits of WordPress multi-site, and adding in Gravity Forms. Well, we'll do that next. We'll add in Gravity Forms right now just so you can see the install and how the Elite license trickles down to the subsites. All right, so let's go back to our network admin, and we'll add Gravity Forms to the mix, and that way we can see it trickle down throughout the multi-site. So let's click Add Plugin. We'll upload this plugin. We'll upload Gravity Forms. Install. Network Activate. So that button's a little bit different than I think is just the standard Activate, right? So now it's saying, okay, this is activated throughout the entire network. I'm going to register my copy. So we've activated my license. I'm going to leave everything else here at default. Next, count me in. And then we'll create the first form, and we'll just do simple contact form. Use template. I'm going to do this really fast. So we'll save the form. We'll make sure that's saved. We'll go to forms. There it is. Now let's browse to our multi-site. Oh, whoops. We're going to go to dashboard. Sorry. We want to go to sites, all sites, the Gravity team. So let's go into the dashboard. Now we'll go to forms, and you can see that we have a fresh install of Gravity Forms. We installed it and activated it at the parent level, the root level of the multi-site. I created a form over there. It doesn't trickle down the forms, and I did that on purpose so you could see that when we get to the new multi-site, now it's just like a fresh install. It acts as a fresh install. You go in and you add your forms, or your sub-admins of those sub-sites go in and add their own forms, and it's treated as a brand new installation. But the Gravity Forms Elite license or developer license are the only two license levels that support multi-site. So if you need this kind of functionality, definitely upgrade to the Elite license. And then that's it. Everyone would go in and set up their forms. Add-ons would trickle down if we installed Gravity Forms add-ons. Those would be network activated. That would work across the board, but not the actual forms and the data. Those are all siloed to each individual site. And that's it. If we go back to the network dashboard, we'll create a new site just so you can see it one more time. We'll call this Gravity Team, Gravity 2. We'll just call it Team 2. Add in a new email. Let's visit the dashboard. And you see it right there, Forms is back. Immediately, we created a new site. Forms is already there. That's the beauty of WordPress Multisite. We'll click on plugins, and you can see that Gravity Forms is network activated on this site. And then that means that if there's hundreds of sites running Gravity Forms here, you only need to upgrade or update one, and that's the parent or root site of WordPress Multisite. Longer video today, lots in this multi-site. I just want to get your, juices flowing. If you've not seen multi-site before and you're an agency owner or you're working at an organization and you say, I think I could use multi-site for some projects. Oftentimes, having a standalone WordPress site that you need to customize is the way to go, and you might have to do that across your organization for different needs. But if you just need really strict control and really strict guidelines on themes and plugins, it's hard to beat the capabilities of multi-site. Check it out. Check out Gravity Forms. Check out the Elite license. That's what supports multi-site. GravityForms.com. Thumbs up if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you want more. Leave a comment below. Let me know how you're using WordPress Multisite and Gravity Forms.